Be careful, you guys. When you are in prayer, remember that God is hearing your prayers, but guess who else is listening? The enemy is listening to your prayers as well, you guys. And I learned this, you guys, the hard way, that when you're asking God for something, the enemy, what he does to derail what you are asking God, he will send in a counterfeit, right, to kind of derail what you are wanting, what your outcome is. For example, you guys, after my father passed, I had a yearning to be connected to a spiritual group. And I said, God, please place people that love God, that know God in my life so I can have a stronger relationship to God, you guys, right? And what he did was place a counterfeit. So later on, I found out that yes, they knew the Bible. Yes, they were in church, you guys. And yes, they had Bible studies. But guess what? The lady was attached to witchcraft, right? So she was a counterfeit of what I was asking God for. And we all know that our attachments and our connections are so important, that if you're attached to somebody that is doing witchcraft, that literally you are attached to that demonic spirit as well, especially if you're under them and you're learning from them, you're trying to grow in God, right? But God, being the wonderful God he is, he would show me in dreams that this person was counterfeit. He would show me in visions that this person was counterfeit. And he opened my eyes, you guys. So one day I was able to see that this lady, yes, she spoke the Bible, and yes, she said that she believed in Jesus, but she was not living for Jesus, you guys. That she was a false prophet, and that she was getting her powers from the enemy. So I had to quickly leave that group, you guys. So when you're asking God sometimes for connections, when you're asking God for relationships, the enemy will send in a counterfeit relationship, someone that's harmful to you, that's trying to stop you from your destiny. The enemy will send in counterfeit friendships. The enemy will send in career paths, right? Or even jobs that God didn't tell you to take, because I prayed to God and then this happened. I remember, you guys, prior to even meeting my husband, I was like, God, I want the next man that I'm with to be from you. I don't want to do things my way, right? He sent in a counterfeit. Right before I met my husband, I had a counterfeit version of what my husband was supposed to be, you guys. So be mindful that the enemy, prior to your blessing, the enemy tries to block it. That's why there's so much obstacles that come in your way prior to you getting and receiving your blessings. And that's why we have to be mindful. We have to be discerning. And we have to, sometimes it takes time for us to see whether or not this is truly from God or this is from the enemy, right? And this makes me think about Matthew 13:24-43, which it says, Jesus spoke in a parable. He spoke in parables, you guys. And in this parable, it said that the kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed a good seed, right? The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed a good seed. The good seed is the word of God. It is the truth of God. It's the light of God, right? But the parable goes on to say, but while everyone is sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds, right? Weeds among the wheats, and went away, right? So we all know from the beginning of time, when God sows in something good, the enemy comes in after God to sow in something bad, you guys. And what happens is that the good wheats and the bad weeds grow together. So sometimes it's hard to discern whether or not which one is bad, which one is good. But God says that there's going to be a season to where we'll be able to discern whether the weeds, discern from the weeds from the wheats, right? Discern the good from the evil, you guys. But it's funny that in this parable, it says, while everyone is sleeping, and it's so, because the enemy is so tricky and he's so meticulous, right? That while everyone is sleeping, he sowed in his bad weeds. That is what the kingdom of heaven is like, you guys, right? That what God means for our good, the enemy comes in and tries to mess it up. So he will send in a counterfeit that looks like God, but that isn't God. That looks like God, but that isn't God, right? To derail your plans, right? To kind of mess up your destiny. And the thing is, he doesn't mess with just anybody. He messes with people that has destinies on their lives, you guys. I was talking to my hairstylist yesterday, and she's African. And one thing about Haitians and Africans, very spiritual people, very, very spiritually connected. And I told her about the group of females that I ended up being with that were heavily in witchcraft. And I told her about the time that I went to her Bible study and she touched my forehead and said silence. And I knew then it was like a light bulb, like something about that was very witchcrafty, right? And she said she tried to steal your destiny. She tried to steal your star, which is very scary to me. And I began to research that. And she said that's something that people that in witchcraft do, to try to steal your destiny. And that's what the enemy does. He tries to kill, steal, and destroy you, you guys. So it's so important that you are mindful of what you're connected to and who you're connected to. But the good news is, after I stopped being with that group, you guys, I am connected now to a group that love God, that believe in God, that truly have the heart of God, that truly looks like God, you guys. And sometimes, you guys, in order for you to get God's true blessings, you have to step away from what the enemy's counterfeit. You got to step away from what the enemy meant for your harm in order for God to open up those blessings for you. You guys, you got to get away from the fake to get the real, okay? And God, in his love and provision, he will pull the weeds, the things that the enemy sows in the ground, and he will keep the weeds. It's only in due season that we'll be able to see who the real from the fake, you guys. The real from the fake. I hope this message has helped somebody, and I'm wishing you guys have a wonderful day.